On today's episode of I Do Film, we welcome Shalom C. Obiago. Nigerian-American actor and filmmaker Shalom C. Obiago is a newcomer to the screens, being seen in hit shows like P-Valley, BMF on Starz, FX's Atlanta, and BET's The Black Hamptons. Behind the scenes, he's working to curate films, showcasing Nigerian stories and culture while branding his daily deposited daily philosophy. I Do Film family, let's welcome Shalom C. Obiago. I'm so excited today to have Shalom C. Obiago in the studio with me today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for sitting in with me today on I Do Film with Cordelia Hunter. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm going to just jump right in and kind of get your juices flowing. I'm going to do a little icebreaker. You ready?
Okay,
now you got to be nice. You got to tell the truth.
Tell
the truth.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Acting or filmmaking?
Acting.
Whoa. TV or movies?
Movies.
No phone or no TV?
No phone.
Winning the lottery or finding your soulmate?
Wow. No. Finding your soulmate. That should have been
sure?
easier. That should have been easier.
Okay. Black Hollywood films or Nollywood films?
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'll say Black Hollywood films because of the production quality as of now. But the goal is to get the Nollywood and make it break into the Hollywood. So that we're working on that.
And why would the goal be? What is the significance behind Nollywood for you?
Nollywood, I'm Nigerian. I'm from Nigeria, and that's my home, and there's stories that need to be told. Growing up, there's this messed up view of what being African was, and, now as I got older, a lot of people started to, get on the wave of, appreciating Africa. But, I definitely want to be a part of pioneering those stories breaking into Hollywood and the mainstream media.
Absolutely. So you are a Nigerian-American.
Yes.
You were born and raised here in Atlanta.
Yes.
You went to DeKalb School of the Arts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then you went off to the University of Pennsylvania. How did that happen?
Hurrah! Yeah. So as you know, I'm Nigerian, right?
Yes.
And that's more than just where I'm from culturally. It's also it's a tradition, it's a culture, it's a way of living, even if I'm in America. And so as a Nigerian, there's only a few things you can be. You can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be an engineer, or you can be a disappointment. Choose one.
Well, okay.
Choose one. And with that said, I chose to be a doctor. And, I grew up with a single mom. And, she came to this country to give us the opportunities. And a lot of the times that looks like traditional careers, like being a doctor, lawyer, engineer. So I was originally going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
So I even went to the DeKalb School of the Arts, not necessarily because it was an art school or to be an artist. I went there because it was the number 2 state in Georgia for academics. Wow. That's why my mom allowed me to go to the school, right? So arts was kind of just a vehicle to get me into a good school academically, and I did really well there. And I went to Penn because it was an Ivy League school. Yes. I was high performing academically, and I was like, I'm still going to be a doctor. So performing in arts was just on the side. So that's actually how I ended up at Penn.
Wow. Yeah. So because it's part of the culture to be one of the 4 that you listed in your career.
Yeah.
And your mom knew that you were going to be this doctor. Mm-hmm. How was mom when she found out that the white coat wasn't going to be the white coat?
Man, honestly, that was probably the hardest point in my life. For the first 2 years of college, it was a constant battle between my mom and our relationship. It was really tested there. And I was switching majors all the time because I was trying to please her. But also, I got to school and I tried biology. I'm like, I'm good at this, but I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. Same thing, I went to computer science, economics, the business school, and all of those things weren't really scratching that itch that I wanted. And to my mom, with Nigerians, it's like they don't care about passion and love and art and mental health. No. That's all of that is nonsense. Yeah. It's just about performing highly academically. And so she kind of believed that I was straying away from being a doctor because I was afraid or because I didn't want to work hard enough to get it. But it was more so I just didn't have the passion in that area.
Right. What did you want to be as a kid?
So as a kid, the thing is, I'd never decided for myself. One day, my mom, when we were talking about careers, my mom was like, oh yeah, you guys are going to be like doctors. And I was like, oh, there's different kinds of doctors. Which one should I be? And so I did some research. I said, which doctor gets paid the most money? And at the time, it was like a neurosurgeon. So ever since then, neurosurgeon. Ever since a kid, I was always going to be a neurosurgeon.
Wow, wow. And look at you now. You're an actor. You've been on P-Valley and still going.
Still going.
And so just tell me, how did you get your start?
Yeah, how did I get my start? So I'll say it like this. In the midst of battling with different majors and stuff and trying to figure out what it is that I want to do at Penn, I was just confused, feeling kind of lost, and everything was really sporadic, switching all the time. So I thought to myself, what's the most consistent thing in my life? You know, my major's always changing. I don't know what I want to do, but what's the most consistent thing in my life? And I was always looking for an opportunity to perform, to be in theater and school. I found myself randomly looking up auditions in the area or something. And even that's when I started writing scripts. I didn't even know how to write a script at the time. I kind of just did some research like on YouTube and was like, started writing stories just randomly. Didn't plan for it to go anywhere. I would just do that stuff. And I realized that maybe this is more than just something that I'm playing with. So, you know, my solution wasn't to leave school or anything, but I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to take this a little more seriously and look more into it. So I started, you know, looking around for agencies around New York because I was in Philly. So New York was right next door. So I would take the bus over there and have interviews. I had about 3 interviews with agents before I ended up signing with one. But yeah, it was just a lot of research and reading and like, what do actors do? How to become an actor? And maybe I actually want to do this.
Wow. That's interesting. Glad that you followed your passion.
Absolutely.
So describe the moment when you booked your first role.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so the moment I booked my first role, so there are 2 different moments here. Because there's one time where I booked my first short film role. It was a union, but it was a short film. You know, it wasn't a network project. It was an independent project. So this was the first thing I ever booked. It was executive produced by Cheryl Lee Ralph. Wow. Amazing. And, you know, and directed by Deshaun Player, Sade, Oyinade. Amazing people. And it was the day I was flying out to LA to do an internship with Mona Scott Young's company, Monami Entertainment. Yes. I was working as a production and development intern. And the day I was flying out there, I got a callback audition for a short film that I auditioned for in Atlanta. And when I got out there, you know, the next day, they told me I booked it. I was like, this is amazing. You know, it was the first role I booked. I was in LA shooting. I'm like, this is amazing, you know. So that was the first time I was really around these industry people. Now, I'll tell you the second time, which I consider as my first network booking. Yes. It was actually P-Valley. Okay. And the truth is, I was upset when I booked that role because I booked that role August 2021. So I had been auditioning with my new agency in Atlanta since February. And I kind of hit the ground running once I signed with them. I was auditioning, and my roles, you know, it went from one-liners to I was auditioning for some guest star recurring roles and even one series regular. I even... I won't say the role or anything, but I'll tell you it's for the show. It's for the show The Game. Okay. And I went to producers for a series regular role. And I just threw my hat into the auditioning ring. And I'm like, whoa, this is going to be my big break. I didn't get it, right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, I was like, I got close. P-Valley, I auditioned for a role. It was a co-star role, it was a one-liner role. And I was playing one of the gang members in Lil Murda's gang. Okay. And I did the audition just because I was like, whatever. But those aren't really the roles I like to play because that's not necessarily me. And I don't really that's not what I want to play, you know. But when I did the audition, you know, I put my watch on, had a chain, and I'm just like, yeah, man.
Came into character, right?
You know, I'm doing all that stuff. And I'm like, when I'm done, I'm like, yeah, whatever, throw it away. 2 weeks later, straight to offer. Like, offer for the role. And I'm like, and I should be grateful, but I was upset because I'm like, of all these roles that I feel like I killed, you know, that are closer to the kind of characters I want to play, the first one I book is this. This isn't even me, you know. So the truth is, I was a little bitter, but I had to realize that this is a necessary stepping stone. You know, that's a hit show. Yes. I was so grateful that Katori gave me the opportunity to start off my career with a show like that, and they ended up bringing me back for another episode.
Yeah, and so like you said, that wasn't you. But you had to go into a character to make them want you to come back. Yeah. So I'm assuming that it helped hone your skills for the next thing that you had to come.
Absolutely. It increased my confidence. So I was like, I knew I can believably be something way outside of myself.
Yeah. Now you had P-Valley and then you had BMF. 2 different genres of a TV show. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to go on audio or live to say this, but... which is you, well, maybe
Which
we'll
is that?
say, prefer P-Valley or BMF?
I mean, I'll have to say BMF just because I was able to spend way more time with the crew. It was just a great family. I started shooting with BMF out in Detroit, and then the company moved to Atlanta to shoot. So I was shooting with them in Detroit and Atlanta. It was over a couple months. I wasn't on set consistently, but they'd bring me back for different episodes to shoot. And I think that was the best experience where I could just be on set over time, come back, see the same people, ADs and stuff, get cool with, Randy, some of the directors, Eve, super dope, some of the cast, family, we would go out and stuff, watch the game, just hang out. I think that was the best. That was the most family on-set experience I ever had. So I'm just looking forward to more experiences.
And listen, and they are definitely a family. I had a chance to meet Slick.
Yeah,
he was actually directing one of the episodes when I went out there. So
very nice.
Atlanta is home to BMF as well as Detroit, as we said earlier. So tell me, what is the creative process? When you're preparing for a role or auditioning for a role?
Yeah, it's definitely, I'll say it like this. We could teach a whole class on this, but I'll say it like this. It's 100% technical and 100% organic. I've learned this from lots of coaches, namely Leslie Kahn. I trained with her out in LA. But when I say 100% technical, it means that there are technicalities to breaking down a script. When writers write things, if it's first you have to understand the genre. Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? What is it? Because that's going to tell you what you're looking for, what signs you're looking for in the script. Say if you have a monologue with 3 sentences, right? Oftentimes that's what we call a build and a reversal. And so you have the first 2 sentences, you build it either up in energy, build, and then you reverse it on the last one. So that's like a technical skill that you would use to break down a script, right? But it's like when you're creating these realistic, grounded performances, you don't want to be working on a technical thing where you're like, okay, build, reverse. You can't do that when you're on camera. You have to let it go.
Right.
And so the process is first going through the script and breaking it down with those technical aspects, understanding the rules, using those tools you have to break it down, and then remembering that, just rehearsing it like that technically, and then letting it all go. Right. And that's the 100% organic process, and that's probably the quickest way I can explain.
Yeah, because I was then going to say, what's your least or your most favorite of the process?
Yeah. Honestly, sometimes it's memorizing lines. I personally, I'm good at memorizing lines. I memorize things really quickly, but I don't really memorize things word for word, and I kind of take some things loosely. But there are some directors and some people who want things said straight to the T, and that's probably my least favorite part is when, sometimes some people are like, oh, you missed that and there, or you flipped it. It's like, but it has the same meaning and it didn't sound bad, but.
Right. Yeah. So when you're going through this process and you're honing in on your character and everything, what do you feel is your responsibility to the audience as you're into character mode? Yeah,
I think it's just to tell the story authentically. It's to tell the story authentically, and that's why I think it's really important to do that work. To mostly the organic part, or let me say this: it's your responsibility to tell the story accurately as expected by the writers and directors who have the vision, and then also organically. And so with the accurately part, that's where I think it's important to do that technical work, because the writer has given you these tools, right? So you have to use your as an actor, it's your job to break it down correctly, and share that vision and communicate that vision, accurately. So you're accurately telling the story, but then at the same time, that organic part is so important because audiences are looking for a new world to escape into. They're not looking for fakeness on TV, right? They're not looking, they want to join a new world, right? Escapism is what a lot of people call it. And so it's your job to be as organic as possible, be real, so people feel like they're joining something real.
And have you ever pivoted from what you were supposed to bring across the screen in your character to where it was a great decision and they allowed you to use it?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, after I did P-Valley, I did Atlanta on FX. So I'm in season 4 of that, coming out September 15th, actually. And my original audition, it was more just kind of like to the T, hitting every line word for word. But when I got on set, Donald Glover, he was so dope, so nice, he was just really freeing. And even though he wrote it, he was like, yeah, man, play with it. make it fun. And so I kind of did a full pivot. Like I played the character way more loosely. You know, I didn't say the lines word for word. And it was a great decision because I had way more fun, and the scene really actualized the vision he was actually going for. So
that gave you some little creative aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, talking about creativity, I know you have some things under your belt that you're either working on.
Yes.
And did the inspiration come after being on a P-Valley or Atlanta or BMF for you? I think it's for a documentary.
Yes. So I'll say this. My zeal for filmmaking and stuff actually came before I booked anything. It actually came from a place of bitterness at first. Because when I first started auditioning, the game it's not an easy game. You don't just book things at whatever you want, right? You get a lot of no's. When you first start off, those no's can make you feel like you're not worthy or make you feel like you don't belong here. And so when I first started, I was like, I should have booked that, and I didn't. So I got bitter, and I was like, you know what? I'd studied media production in high school, and I can pick up a camera. So I started writing my own stuff because I was going to produce because I was bitter. It became a love, you know. I started to understand the game more. Like, oh, that's just how the game goes. But I didn't let go of filmmaking because I was like, no, this is a way to tell my own stories. This is important, whether or not I'm booking stuff. And so that actually came before I booked anything. I think being on set more, BMF, P-Valley, and Atlanta, those inspired me to just want to continue to create and provide opportunities for people on set. Because when I think of shows like BMF and I see like hundreds of people on set, right?
Yes.
And behind the scenes working just for shoot one scene, it's like, look at all these people who have the opportunity to like engage in something great that the world's going to see. And I want to be able to tell those kinds of stories and provide those kinds of opportunities in front and behind the camera for people. As for the documentary, that's more so something I'm doing. You know, I don't know if people can even see, but as you can see, my leg right now is not in the best place. And, you know, this was a major setback, sort of. It was supposed to be a major setback.
Right.
But like I said earlier,
Yes,
they tried to bury me.
Yeah.
They didn't know I was a seed.
Yeah. I love
because, you know, I haven't been auditioning because of this as of late. And I couldn't be on set, and I had to turn down actually a pretty dope role because insurance liability and stuff. But the documentary I'm making is sort of related to this brand that I've kind of curated. It's called Daily Deposits, Deposited Daily. And, you know, in short, it's basically this idea of no matter whatever you're doing, whatever goal you have, anything can be achieved by simply depositing daily. You know, and it evolved from me going to the gym and working out every day and encouraging people in my micro community to keep showing up every day, daily deposit. But when I had this injury and it took me out of the gym, I couldn't lift. You know, I realized that no, daily deposits applies to so much more than just lifting weights. You know, daily deposits applies to so much more than lifting weights. It's a metaphor for life. And so daily deposits, I started applying it to other parts of my life. And so the documentary I'm making has been documenting the process of me, you know, going through surgery with this knee, you know, just getting up and you know, pushing every single day. I can't walk right now. I can't really lift my legs like right now. And it's really hard, especially for someone who normally works out every day.
Right.
But I'm pushing through every single day. So
since we're talking about the leg, what happened to the leg?
Oh, man. So I like to say I was auditioning for a Marvel film or something and jumped out of a plane and my knee popped up. What really happened, we're going to keep this between us. We're going to keep this between us, okay? Yeah, so I was at a restaurant and I tried to hit an alley-oop in an 8-foot goal. And when I jumped up, my knee just popped.
Really?
Yeah, so, yeah, I can dunk, okay? And I used to hoop. I played AAU ball. I thought I was going to the league.
Okay.
But I think I just had some unresolved patella tendonitis there that just, it was just, it's time to go, so.
Well, we're glad that you're in recovery and, you know, you're on your way back to running and lifting weights on it. Yeah. So a lot of your work, I noticed, has been in Black TV. Is this the realm that you want to stay in?
You know, I think it's a great realm to start in. It's not, I don't really believe in confining yourself to just a community of doing Black TV. I think that if we continue to, if you continue to stay in one realm of Black TV, it's gonna like minimize the community, if that makes sense. It kind of prevents it from like breaking out into the world. Like, I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I have a hard time explaining this to people because when we had the debate about like going to PWIs versus HBCUs and stuff, people are like, oh, like you think, you know, like you don't want to be around your own people and this and that. But I think that's a different ideology, because HBCUs, you're going to like groom yourself and stuff. So
Absolutely.
Wanting to be around the people who are going to care for you, that's a community where that's a great place to go and be around your people. But when it comes to something like entertainment, a realm that's supposed to touch and change hearts and minds of all races, of all genders, it should have no color.
Absolutely.
And so I think at the beginning of my career, you know, being in black spaces, this is a great place for me to start, because I'm joining crews that are treating me like family, and, you know, I'm getting people around me that look like me that can help support me in my journey. But I'm ready to break into the world, right? And then take the black stories and the black crews and connections that I make and take that with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can see you, you know, seeing you on screen as a Marvel figure.
Yeah, that's
you talk about it a little bit. I can see you being that. So tell me, what is your dream role?
Yeah, you know, you asked me in the icebreaker, TV or movies. In the long run, definitely movies.
Yes.
Definitely movies. I definitely see myself in that. Something like Marvel, just like a superhero kind of role, doing something like fantastic. It has to be something athletic. I love fitness. That's like part of why I make sure I maintain, you know, my physique and stuff. And when this happened, I was like, no, you know. So
ladies, he's on about that physique.
Hey, look, I'm just waiting on my interview with Men's Health, you know, so I can show them my workout routine.
Absolutely, I hear you now. So what's your best advice, you know, for young actors and actresses that are coming up that want to get into this, and even for the ones that went away to college and came back, because you went against the odds.
Absolutely, I did.
So what advice would you give?
Oh, man, listen. First of all, do whatever you can with whatever you have, wherever you are. A lot of people think that in order to be an actor, you have to chase a story. I moved to LA with $700 in my pocket and a gift card. And it's like, no, you can do things from where you are. Stay home, right? Train, make connections and stuff. I will tell you this as well. Just keep showing up.
Yes.
Every single day, you have to just keep showing up. I think just like Denzel said, you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut soon enough. And that's true. It's if you don't believe in just things happening because of the universe, because of God, whatever you believe in, it's just statistics. If anything, you stay around long enough, it's gonna happen, right? And then the last thing I would also say is, you have to believe that you're special. You have to believe that you're special. There's so many people in this world that are going to tell you what you can't do. Everyone told me that, oh no, there's no way you can do a full-time job and then also act. There's no way you can go here and do this. Everyone's going to tell you what you can't do, and it won't always be out of hate. I'm not going to be the one that, like, you. It's not always about hate. It's just people can't see beyond their own limitations, right? And so in order to bypass that, you literally have to believe you're special almost to an irrational level, to where like someone can tell you something where they have logical points as to why something may or may not work, but you have to believe that, no, I'm special, that doesn't apply to me, right? Because then that's what's going to allow you to continue moving steadfastly towards that goal. And you can achieve it. You really can. And that's another thing that I'm championing with the Daily Deposited Daily brand. And that's something that I really want to push to creators and anybody in any industry. It's, you have to believe that you're special. You have to believe that you're special.
Yeah, making sure those limits are not put on them.
Absolutely.
And that they're special, and that they know who they are. Who they belong to. And speaking of that, knowing that you are, you're special, and just having that confidence in yourself to be able to pursue your dreams and actor and actress and writer, director, however. So how important is relationships, building relationships in this genre?
So important. So important. It's because at the end of the day, when people want to work with people they like, people work off of essence or energy, whatever you want to call it. That stuff matters, and relationships are what allow that to stand out, if that makes sense. Like when you make relationships with people, when people know of you as a good person to work with, as a good energy and stuff, when your headshot goes across someone's table, people are looking at that and like thinking about you. They're looking you up and they're seeing their mutuals, who else knows you, and they're asking that stuff. There's no robot scanning your headshot in and looking at your acting statistics. It's not a robot, it's people. It's people. The industry is all about relationships. Relationships with people behind the camera, directors, casting directors, agents, managers, whoever. And then relationships with your audience. So it's all relationships.
Oh, I like that.
Everything.
Relationship with the audience.
With the
I never
audience.
thought about that.
Yeah, it's all relationships. You have to be, in short, you have to be a people person. Mm-hmm. You have to make relationships. If you can't make relationships with people behind the camera, you know, you can't make it with people in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. So what obstacles do you think that you had to? What were some challenging obstacles that you had to overcome to get where you are today?
Yeah, definitely a lot. The obstacles start internally. They start internally. Like I said, culturally, being Nigerian, there are those limitations. You know, or I can't be a creative. I have to be in this one field. So pursuing acting, I always feel like I'm disappointing someone at first. Oh, felt like I was disappointing someone in family gatherings or anything. You're afraid to say what you're doing. But then there's the external obstacles. You know, it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's expensive. You have to paying for classes because you need to focus on your craft. You know, paying for classes, getting rejected all the time, paying for headshots. You know, the stuff, it gets difficult, right? Sometimes feeling like you're competing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine messing with you too.
Yeah.
And so your circle, your friends, your circle, your family, I'm sure there's two. I'm sure there's family, cousins, and then family with, you know, in the film world, in your productions and everything. How important is that to stay grounded, to keep them separately? Oh,
that's a good point that you make, because I have never even thought of that, you know, like myself, but that is very important, because you don't want your life to be too consumed in the world of entertainment, because at the end of the day, there's money involved in the industry, right? It's a business. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like it's the same thing if you were an investment banker or something, and your family and your work life was your coworkers and your investment banking work, but then your best friends were also your investment banking friends and your manager, and those are the only people you hang around. Like, you're consumed in the world of investment banking, mm-hmm. and it's just not healthy. I think it's the same thing with entertainment, acting. You know, you have to have family separate from that. And I just think it keeps you grounded. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend, and mm-hmm. she's a girl, and she's one of my best friends mm-hmm. from back in the day. And every time we talk, she's always talking about it'd be something random, like a guy or something. And I had a time where I would get kind of annoyed hearing about it, because I'd be like, all I want to talk about is like acting and like how this audition I have, how bad I want it or something. What I realized one day when I had like a really tough day doing an audition and like a role I didn't get and just had a tough day, talking to her about something that felt so remedial or like just so civilian, you know, it made me feel so at peace, and just it kind of brought me back to earth. Mm-hmm. These are the little things that matter, right? It's not about being the best actor in the world. It's not about, you know, always competing and trying to grind your way to the top. It's about living, remembering moments, having moments with people you love, and that's the bottom of it. So it's definitely important to keep those two worlds separate, because it'll keep you grounded.
Yeah, it sure will. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what major projects do you have coming up?
So I am in the show called The Black Hamptons. It's coming out on BET Plus.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm playing Tyler Johnson. I'm playing the son of Lamar Rucker, Elise Neal. Those are my parents. You know, but that was an amazing opportunity working on that show with Tridestin Studios, and I'm really happy for the opportunity. So I hope people tune in, and yeah, I hope y'all love it.
Yeah. So P Valley.
Yes.
Black Mafia. Mm-hmm. The Black Hamptons. Mm-hmm. Your daily deposits and deposits daily.
Yes.
Getting well. I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you so much.
Moving forward. So I appreciate you being on the show today. Tell the audience how they can reach out to you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Shalom Obi. That's SHALOMOBI. I'm most active on there. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. I love engaging with people.
Uh-oh, ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap for us today. But make sure you tune in every first and third Tuesday of the month to catch more jewels on I Do Film. Follow us on all social media platforms at I Do Film Atlanta, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm your host, Cardelia Hunter. Thank you for joining. I'll see you next time.